I'm Joe Kane.
I'm Dan Kane.
I'm Sal Conca.
And I'm Wayne Heckler.
And this is the Imperfect Podcast.
Don't forget to go to hecklerkane.com and sign up to become an Imperfect Podcast Insider.
To the bumper. On this week's Imperfect Podcast, we talk to producer, editor, and director Gavin Michael Booth. He's best known for the horror film The Scarehouse, which is now playing on Showtime. We met him a few weeks back at the AFM, American Film Market, and he was gracious enough to come on our show and give you a little insight on how he snuck into the film business. Without further ado, this is Gavin Michael Booth.
Gavin, welcome to the Imperfect Podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. I know we met you at AFM a few weeks ago. How was AFM for you? Was it a success?
It was good. I'm never like a regular attendee unless I have something to sell. I'm kind of in between films right now, so it's just a lot of living in Los Angeles now. It's just a short drive to get there, so mostly just sort of setting up meetings with folks and going to hang out at some of the cool parties. And where we met, somebody put together that Meet All the Horror Filmmaker party.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it's nice when people just have that sort of general spirit of wanting to meet everybody else in their field. And usually those are the cooler parties. They're less pretentious. Meet a lot of people with like-minded attitudes that are just trying to make movies and survive. And
Right.
you never know. It's all future collaboration, right? You never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to work with next.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's what we went. That was Sean, who's trying to get his movie together called
Sean Crane,
Twisted the movie. Yeah, Twisted the movie that he's trying to put together.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had a pretty interesting career from music videos to feature films and all that stuff. But let's go back a little bit. You're in Canada, born and raised?
Yeah, born in Windsor, Ontario, which is right on the border with Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Cool.
When I tell most people that, they go, "Oh," I said, "No, like literally, there's a tiny river that divides the two countries and cities." Yeah.
I've seen that little bridge, right? There's like that little...
Yeah.
So then what got you into film at that point? You're living there?
Well, I'm going to throw a question out before you even get to that.
Sure.
Indiana Jones and the Lost Remote Control.
Wow, you guys did your homework. I don't know where you would have found that?
Because that's from what I get as your very first
it's
ongoing.
There. That was back in the day. I used to deliver newspapers as a kid, and slug it out through all those Midwest winters, so that I could save up and buy a JVC VHS camcorder because I wanted to run around the neighborhood and make movies with my friends. And that's before I even had sort of like two VCRs to connect together to edit. So everything was edited in camera.
Yeah.
So I really kind of learned early to shoot the minimum amount of footage and get everything right the first take, because the most you could do was rewind it and hope you had it at the right spot to start again. One of my best friends to this day is a guy named Eli Parent, who lived a couple houses down from us. We lived in like the perfect suburbia. We were on Boardwalk in the Monopoly subdivision. All the streets from the Monopoly game were represented, and we would just run around. Everything was parodies back then. It'd be like Friday the 13th, part 25. Or, we'd lay somebody down in a fire pit so their legs could be in the fire pit. We could make it look like he was running them over with the lawnmower and just squirting ketchup up from behind it.
Nice.
Indiana Jones and the Lost Remote. Yeah, it was always some parody of the things that we loved. So we'd be like, well, we can't afford to build a Grail. We don't have anything cool. Let's what do we have that we could lose? The remote. What do you the remote? You can't watch TV. So what adventure in a neighborhood could we send somebody on? So usually my little brother that was forced into playing all these roles, very reluctantly.
I don't think there's a filmmaker out there that can't relate to that, right? Everybody's made that attempt at putting...
I can relate to losing the remote.
Yeah.
And I can relate to the big VCRs. Remember, the camera came with the VCR. You had to attach it. So you're filming holding a big camera.
Yeah.
Right. That was a mission.
I get the next generation. I just had my own shoulder mount thing. I actually just recently found that. The one that I used, the first time I ever touched a camera was... Fisher Price made a little kid's camera. I don't know if you remember this. It's called like the VX200 or something, but it used audio cassette tapes to record a black and white video image.
I had the Panasonic version of the same exact camera.
I somebody just a couple of years ago found it digging out their basement and said, "Isn't this the first camera that you ever used?" And they gifted it to me.
Cool.
So I still have that. And I actually kind of want to get it touched up and buy some audio tapes and actually go shoot a music video on it or something. Just see how terrible it is, or see if we can't find a way to make it creative again. You know?
Hey, that's awesome.
8mm film and stuff. I thought, I'll go with that. You know, if nothing else, I'm sure we can get Fisher Price to tweet it for us.
See, always thinking, a true writer, director, creator. Good work.
So where did we go from?
Kids found footage movie on it or something like, look, we just found this from our childhood. Never realized there's a demon in every shot.
Nice. You know, it's funny. I used to tape over my films all the time. My older brother had the first camera, and tape was expensive back then. So you make movies, and you always think you could do better. Like, hey, let's tape over that. Forget that one, man. Let's do this, because, you know, you're limited to the amount of film you buy. So I remember those days. But, hey, you know, you keep doing your thing. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, filmmakers still do that, because that's called, like, what do we really need 3 backups of these hard drives for? You know?
Yeah.
There's a much sadder modern version of that happening, where they go like, oh, 5 years from now, we haven't plugged these hard drives in a while, and they're dead. You know?
So where do you go from being the lighthearted child filmmaker? How does your career progress? Do you go to film school? What was the path?
I wanted to go to film school. I've been looking at there's a university in Toronto, Toronto's about a 3-hour drive from where I had grown up, and I looked at UCLA and a few, you know, AFI, a few schools out in Los Angeles. Definitely couldn't afford the LA schools, being an international student. Mm-hmm. My parents were getting divorced in high school. Money was tight. There wasn't going to be a lot of sort of family help for university. So if I was going to go, I was going to save up for myself. So I went and worked at Walmart for a whopping 6 months as a department manager for the garden center, and ended up pulling a hernia there because it had rained one night. And I don't know if you've ever lifted like a 20-pound bag of peat moss.
Yes.
Well, when it's got a few holes poked in it, it's rained the night before, that ends up being about 80 pounds.
Yep.
So if you're not aware of that and you just go to pick it up, put it in somebody's trunk, I just, whoop, that's it, and had a hernia. Was off on a medical leave, and they, you know, Walmart just, you know, rightfully so and legally just wouldn't allow me to come back until it was fixed. And that was sort of a long wait for that. And I was kind of like, well, I'm not making any money. How am I going to save it from film school? And I had a few friends that were doing wedding videos and a few local TV commercials. I thought, well, maybe I'll just buy some gear and start doing that while I'm waiting for this. You know, if I'm sitting on my ass all day long, I can do that and edit at the same time, or, you know, hold a video camera. It's not gonna kill me. And that just kind of took off, and I never looked back from there. And, you know, that's going into like early 2000s. So, you know, only years before my last year of high school was 96 or 97. And you know, that's the Kevin Smith rise and the Rodriguez, you know, coming out of it. The brothers McMullen with Ed Burns, you know, the guys that figured out, oh, you can take $25,000 and go make a movie, you know, and of course you just put it in Sundance and you win and your life changes forever.
The lottery ticket.
That's how it works.
You know, I'll do that. I'll go make a movie for $25,000, fully aware that if it didn't turn out, I would at least probably learn by failing. So that became the path, and I forgot all about film school. And plus, I was never a very good student in terms of paying attention or handing homework in on time. I always had elaborate excuses for why things were delayed. You know, I would cheat the postal system. I had a girlfriend mother who worked at the post office in my town. So I would, you know, no, teacher, remember you said we could mail it in over the Christmas break? It had to be by this date. Well, I'd have her go back stamp the registered mail thing and, you know, ship it in. And the teacher would be like, well, I think you're lying. And then it would show up and she'd be like, I'm so sorry. So I just learned to procrastinate and was not going to be very good for school. And so I made a movie called Leaving Town. I co-directed it, co-wrote it. I thought, you know, I've never even made a short film at this point. I should probably not attempt to make a feature without any experience at all. So I found somebody else who had equally zero experience, and we decided to team up. And it was, you know, it was kind of hell on earth. It was a shit show, but we finished it, and that's when it became important to realize, you know, your first film might not be the best thing. It might not even be a watchable thing, but it's a thing that you finish from start to finish.
Yeah.
And you learned all the steps, you learned all the personality traits of dealing with crew and what it really means to be a director, to be a producer, how to work in tight budgets. And ultimately, I think also just making that first film, if you really want to be a filmmaker, or if you, just want to dream about being a film. I always say there are people that want to make films, and then there are people that want to be filmmakers. And there's a lot of them where they want the what they believe is some kind of prestige and award and celebrity that comes with it, but they don't actually want to do the hard work of making the film. And so social media has only spun that out of control. There's a lot more of that than not.
Right.
Yeah. I hear that 100%. And learning from your mistakes and being able to accept, failure as well as success is a huge deal for filmmakers. And that's why so many of them, maybe they make one film and you never hear from them again, right? Because they couldn't deal with the consequence that whatever they made was not good enough, or it didn't get accepted by an audience, or didn't win an award, or didn't get distribution. So
there's a filmmaker on YouTube. He does a lot of these like top 10 lists or just little short documentaries on pop culture. But I subscribed to his channel. His name's Austin McConnell. Just a few weeks ago, he put out a video called. It was something, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, I made a movie and it sucked. And the half-hour self-video essay of him being brutally honest about his process of making his first film. He was, I forget where he grew up, but Midwest somewhere. He made 2 or 3 short films. He won a handful of small film festivals. And he's like, this is it. I'm going to make my feature. And he just honestly goes through every step of how he failed at it and all the lessons learned through it. And I thought, one, like, kudos to him for being so. Actually, I'm kind of hurt. I never heard back. I emailed out because I was like, I think it should be shown in film schools everywhere. Like, this is a great piece. I've been telling every filmmaker that I know to watch it because I think it's a real honest look and can serve as especially anybody starting out as a lesson of like, look, this guy lays out all the pitfalls in a very simple, short way. Watch this before you drain your bank account and buy your Sony A7S or whatever and try to make a movie.
Right.
For sure. So after your first film there, you got into music videos and working with bands like Third Eye Blind, but I know there's an interesting story kind of behind how you met them and how you got involved with them, right?
How much stuff is on the internet? My God.
We each have our own list of like crazy crap we found about you.
No, you know why? Because when I found out, I said, see, that's cool. Because he's always thinking, he's like, how do I get in there? How do I do this? So it's like you had the passes, right? Backstage passes. You started going in. Then they liked your shit. You became,
Do we not want to talk about this?
No.
Yeah, we could edit that out, right? If you want.
No. I never. No, it's perfectly fine. I mean, I didn't tell the band for a couple of years afterwards. They just legit thought that I was a real media person that fell into their lap. No, living on the border with Detroit. Detroit had all the great concerts. They had the bigger concert venues. It's Detroit Motor City. It's Detroit Rock City. So I go see a lot of concerts there, and I just started thinking, well, there's like in Canada, the main media is the CBC, and then there's some lesser known ones. This my hometown news was called the A Channel. So I think it was an A Channel pass. It might have been CBC, but either way, I laminated and used to make my own fake media card and just show up in Detroit and say, oh, I'm here to interview the band. I'd have a microphone in one hand and a camcorder in the other. Not even a great camcorder either, so nobody should have bought it. But every once in a while, somebody would well, you're not on the list. And I'd say, well, I got to get this back to the TV station for like the 11 o'clock news. And
Nice.
they would buy it and let me in. And sometimes it meant I would just be allowed to film the first 3 songs and then leave. Sometimes, I get ballsy and say, well, can I get an interview with anyone from the band? And Third Eye Blind was one of them. And it's, to that started a whole trend for me of, sneaking to everything. If you're not really breaking the law, if you're not really causing anybody trouble, the worst they're going to do is say no. So it's the same philosophy is dating,
Right.
Ask the person you want, no matter how out of your league you think they might be, because the worst they're going to do is say no, or, if they tell you to go F yourself, well, then that's a cool story too.
Exactly.
And that worked out. They really liked my work, and Steven, their singer, and I became friends, and he started inviting me to work with the band more. And Around the same time, maybe 6 months later, he was producing a record for his then girlfriend, who was the piano player and singer Vanessa Carlton. If you remember her, she had that hit 1,000 Miles. I would say it's on every time you walk into a CVS.
Yeah.
They were Universal Records and A&M Records were looking for somebody to shoot a documentary about the making of the album, because they were going to put that. That's when they were trying to save the music industry. It was like, oh, if we put a DVD with every CD, then people won't download it.
Right.
So that was my first trip out to Los Angeles and to work in the music studios. And that was done in several different cities. So I just kind of on and off for 6 months, followed the whole process of making the album. Met a whole bunch of insane people I never thought I'd meet. They guest played on the album and got to put that DVD together, and it blew up and sold all over the world. And that just started leading to more and more opportunities in the music industry. So then eventually a local band said, hey, can you shoot a music video for us? And I also never say no. I said, yes.
Of course.
But I'll, when do we shoot? In 2 weeks? Okay, I got 2 weeks to learn everything about how to sync music to a music video and make this work. So yeah, a lot of it is just never saying no and figuring out how to maximize the most of every opportunity. I mean, I met my wife into the Toronto Film Festival as well and do a party. I've sort of learned every trick and that's why I don't buy a pass to AFM anymore. It's almost not fun if I get invited anywhere. It's more about hearing what's there, and I just have this thing in me now where I only want to go to the parties I'm not invited to, because they're the ones I feel like there was a challenge to be in here, so there must be something good behind this door.
Do you want to come to this? No, you're not allowed to come to this. I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why didn't you guys invite me to your birthday party? Because, Gavin, we figured you would figure it out and just be there.
You should know better. Hey, so tell us about the live broadcast that you did.
The
Which
Periscope.
one's
The Periscope live
yeah.
movie broadcast.
Yeah, that happened very rapidly. I had my friend Tanya Betancourt, she's an actress out here. She was the one who introduced me to Periscope, and that would have been probably August or September of 2015. And I had never, Facebook Live didn't exist yet, which has become obviously I think the most popular version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, Periscope was owned by Twitter. Anybody who has a cell phone can turn it on, and suddenly they're broadcasting live. And you see it a lot where it's people at concerts sharing things, or people that were already blogging like makeup tutorials and stuff figured out instantly how to make that work as part of their brand. And my wife, Sarah, who's an actress, has said, she's produced some theater, and she said, you could you don't even need an audience anymore for theater. You could just broadcast it live over stuff. They make it so easy that you don't need all this infrastructure. Anyone with a cell phone is their own broadcast network.
Mm-hmm.
And I toyed around with some ideas of how could we do a live music video? What could we do that's cool with it? And then I was kind of well, somebody should do a Blair Witch thing, a found footage thing with a live. I should make something with this live thing.
Right.
There you go.
It all happened that morning. And I called my manager, Gina, here in LA, and I said, listen, I have this crazy idea, some sort of short film with live. Maybe it's a serial killer who's broadcasting his murders. Maybe something terrible is happening, but we actually do it live. We never tell the audience that it's fake and just see what happens. And I said, I could go do this tomorrow, but I feel like if we got a brand partner on board, then we would have their audience, or we could do something a little bit better with it. And one of the clients that she manages is the star of a lot of the Insidious films for Blumhouse. Sure. And she said, well, let me reach out to Jason Blum and the people of Blumhouse and see what they think. And the audience, if you're not familiar with Blumhouse, it's every horror movie you've watched in the last 3 years. It's Get Out, the Purge series, Paranormal Activity, Happy Death Day that's in theaters now. And so we reached out to them, and they were really excited about it and really supportive. So we were 8 weeks out or 6 weeks out from Halloween at the time. We said, well, the perfect time is to do this a couple days before Halloween, or maybe right on Devil's Night. And that was it. We wrote the little script. It was 20 minutes long. It was called 15. And the idea was a serial killer who's stalking Los Angeles. And this is supposed to be his sort of 8th night of terror. So there's been 7 other broadcasts. The setup being that when it starts, he's in his car stalking a neighborhood. He's actually listening to a radio report about himself being live. And it's almost like the name's failing me, the bad guy in Speed, Dennis Hopper, when he sets off the bomb, he says, interactive TV, Jack, wave of the future. You know, he starts his broadcast and the radio starts talking about him. He's like, look at this, I have everybody sort of in the palm of my hand. And, you know, his sort of rules are that he's going to kill somebody in 15 minutes if the police don't find out where he is, which also opens it up to the viewers, because Periscope, as people comment on the video stream, it's popping up on the phone screen. So our actor who played the killer, Neil Napier, was also the cameraman. He held the camera the whole time, did his own camera work, and he was able to read the comments coming in and interact with the audience sometimes. So anybody who didn't think it was live, they'd be like, oh, this isn't effing real. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, well, I'll kill your family next. Superman 354, whatever. Whatever there's happened. And it ended up being very, very well received. We had tons of viewers. You know, the filming.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about that, like the process, like what was the viewership like, and was there money behind that? Like, is it more of a cachet piece, or is there a business behind that? I know Periscope itself, you know, it doesn't, it's not so hot anymore, but like, do you see that model? You see people on Facebook Live that is it something that could be monetized?
It was interesting. We didn't even look at a monetization model. It was just one of those things where it's like, you know, if we do this, we'll be the world's first. So what's more, let's just do something fun. Let's do something the world hasn't seen before. And if we're asking people to pay for it, it's going to take away from the reality of people believing, you know, what I like. I'm obsessed with found footage. I had a found footage script about a shooting in a high school that was picked up by, people from Lionsgate. It was picked up from Mel Gibson's Icon Productions at one point. It had a bunch of, but it always got put into development hell every time there was a real life shooting. But that's with found footage movies, and I think when they're done well, they're done excellent. So I thought, how can we let's not try to brand it. You know, we're already doing it on Blumhouse Periscope page, so anybody, you know, anybody in the film world would know that it's fake right away. But you know, Blumhouse, to us as movie fans and filmmakers, is just synonymous with horror films. To Middle America, to the rest of the world, they don't always pay attention to what production companies and who, you know, they don't even know who the director of major films are half the time. It was just something where like, oh my God, what am I watching? And people are calling them saying, turn this thing on right now. It's live. So we don't know the exact viewership numbers, but Periscope was very good to, they actually tore the video down right after a broadcast because they were getting calls from the police, from people saying, there's a murderer on Periscope, like you've got to kill this stream, you know?
Right.
So when we talked to them, once they knew all of that, they were very cool and told us how much they loved it. And, you know, we had other ideas for streaming. So I think there could be a way to monetize it. You know, I think where it works great is I forget what the platform was called, but musicians would do live broadcasts or acoustic performances, and you paid like $5 to get in to the room. And if you like things, you could ask them questions. And if you like the performance, you could tip. You could add extra money to tip to the performance, kind of thing.
Cool.
But you know, I think there's ways to do it. But again, it's harder and harder to get people to pay for anything entertainment wise.
Yeah, of course.
Like somebody complains, like, "Oh man, Netflix is going up to $13 a month." I'm like, I would cost 2 rentals, and I had to drive through the snow and almost die to get there.
Right.
Like,
and then return them late and pay again.
Hey, so what
No, I mean, honestly, the only thing I've ever won in life is beating Blockbuster when they disappeared, and I just have to pay my late.
There you go.
Hey, which brings to Scarehouse. It's funny because you talked about found footage. One thing I liked about Scarehouse is because it uses that technique, kind of, right, to tell flashbacks, but it uses the video, and it was done very well, by the way.
Thank you. That was done completely. That found footage element of the movie did not exist when we finished shooting the movie. Originally, the entire movie took place in the present on the night inside the Scarehouse. And I guess I should just say the Scarehouse is a movie about 2 girls that open a Halloween funhouse for the specific purpose of inviting people they have a grievance with down so that they can, you know, get some pretty sadistic revenge. But with that, we finished the movie. Universal Studios was already our partner to release in the U.S. and a company called Telefilm Canada. And, you know, we watched a rough cut screening. They rented a theater. We had a little proper test screening. Not test screening, I should say, just the people involved in film, and they kind of came back and said, wouldn't it be great, you know, we had some extra money, we did something, would you be open to shooting like almost like a prologue scene that shows all of the girls the night of the incident? Because we see their bloody, you know, bloody, dirty best version in this film, but we never see them when they were like beautiful and friends, and we think that maybe that could really enhance the story. And it was a good creative process, because, you know, a lot of times you hear, oh, studio notes, they're the worst. They try to make your film, you know, the worst thing possible. And I said, yeah, I'm totally open to that. My wife and I were taking the vacation the day after, so we left. It was probably January. I think it was early January, and sat on the beach for a few days. And I said, you know what? There's other things in the film I'd like to change, or maybe we can make more clear. So if I like cut a few sections out where I just feel like it's too much talky, maybe we can go back and shoot these camcorder things. Maybe instead of doing just one thing at the beginning, I could shoot events from the night in question and make it, you know, found footage, because they could have brought a camera to this hazing ritual. They could have had everybody's got a cell phone. If I can work it in, maybe I can get all the cast back and we can just squeak it in and afford it to have one day or a day and a half to shoot all this stuff. So that's what we put together and brought all the cast back 6 months later. And that's the only day that all of the cast was together. Wow. Because when we shot the movie, you know, it's always sort of the two protagonists and their current victim, or maybe four of them at any one time, 5 at the most. But yeah, to get all 8 of the girls together, that was the only day that we had with all of them, basically. And one of them had moved to Ireland, so it was a lot of finagling to get everybody back. So it was really fun, because we shot the day after the Oscars that year. So it was in February that we did the reshoot. And, you know, everybody came back to Windsor, Ontario, where we shot the movie. We all went and had dinner together, got to watch the Oscars together, you know, have a little fun night, and then jump back in. And I shot all the found footage stuff myself. I can be a cinematographer. I don't ever qualify myself or say I'll be a cinematographer for anyone else. But for something like that, where I know exactly what I want, and I only kind of have one day to get it, it felt perfect to just pick up the camera and shoot that kind of run and gun style. Because again, I do not like found footage when it's obviously a huge studio camera and the lighting's perfect. And, you know, there's only a handful of movies that have done it right, where you're like, okay, I can really believe that I'm there and this is happening.
Sure. So what was the process like in getting that movie then picked up? It sounds like you already had a deal with NBC Universal, right, to have it produced. So did you sell the script first and then get the budget for the film? Or how did that all work in terms of getting it produced?
So it was, my school shooting movie had sort of, God, I can't say. Every time I want to say the script was killed or what, I can't say it. It was stopped. It's disrespectful to all the real school shootings. But there was the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting and the Aurora Theater shooting. It happened in the year 2012. We were supposed to film March 2013, but with those two events, the Canadian government that was putting some money in through some grants, and our distributor, everybody got really nervous about, because we were going to try to market this film like it really happened, like have that whole Blair Witch thing of like, this is what it would be like to be trapped inside of a school shooting. And everybody kind of walked away from that. But our Canadian distributor said, you know, it's not you that we don't like, and we still love this movie. We just can't make this movie. It's just, you know, we probably can't even put it in theaters in America anymore because of what happened in Aurora. You know, we'll get eaten alive by the press. So they said, give us something safe, give us something that won't be problematic. And that was December 2012. So my wife and I got married that Christmas. We took a honeymoon. I just kind of took 3 or 4 months off, which I never do. I'm always busy working, doing something. It was just that movie, the school shooting movie, I've been chasing for about 5 years of on and off deals, and hadn't made a movie, and just kind of sat down, and we went out for lunch one day, and I said, I have this idea. It was originally guys. It was like a fraternity. It wasn't even girls. I said, maybe we'll make the sequel about girls. So I said, I have this idea. They open a Halloween Funhouse, and it's somewhere between like Saw and Mean Girls, or Saw or Hostel and Mean Girls, and we'll do that. And they said, that's amazing. What's it called? I said, Scarehouse. Everybody pulls out their phone and goes like, there's not a movie called The Scarehouse already? They're like, register it right now. And we were were off to the races. So because I already had the relationship with them and with the Canadian government for the grant money, a lot of movies in Canada are funded in part by the government. They have a really good tax credit and grant system for Canadian filmmakers. Everybody was on board to do this. We were making the movie for under $250,000, so it was pretty simple to put it together. That was May. I pitched the idea. I didn't even have a script yet. Wrote the script quick. We were shooting in August, and our Canadian distributor had an output deal where they could take 2 Canadian titles a year and have Universal release it. So we sort of had all that set up before we went to camera.
Awesome. Very cool.
Getting away from Scarehouse, I do have one question for you. In 2006, now I've jumped back because I found a piece of information here that I need to know the answer for.
Oh boy!
All right.
And
like
I've seen parts of this.
I
Well,
did
we're
not
sort of
grab
reading.
I did not grab her rear end. I don't know what you're talking about.
Especially
Program
now,
data.
right? With these things
Well,
going on.
the question is, you made a list of 14 people that you have to meet, and it was how many days?
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Was
yes.
a video blog that you were releasing on a daily basis, trying to meet. Now, I never found out the end of this because I guess I lost it somewhere in translation there. But there were you actually met like Kevin Smith and Quentin Tarantino, Ellen DeGeneres.
I watched the interview.
Yeah, I watched a
DeGeneres.
couple of them, and I. Did you meet your full list? And if not, are you still doing it?
Not Steven Spielberg yet,
No.
right?
I'm 75 years old and I'm a hologram now. I'm going to meet these people.
That's great.
No, so the project was called How Many Days? And again, this was trying to be an early adopter of YouTube. It was 2006 or 7. 2006 was when YouTube was released. So it was 2007. I thought, well, what can I do with this? What would be fun? And I had just seen a movie called My Date with Drew, where a guy said, like, I'm going to just like do everything I can until I get a date with Drew Barrymore. That's a little stalkerish and like, it ends up being kind of charming by the end of it, but I wanted to do something less aggressive and forceful. And I thought, well, what if I did something where I said, I need some motivation to pick up my camera and shoot something and edit something every day and sort of almost hold myself accountable to make movies. I thought, well, what if I did a daily video blog where then I would be forced to be creative because I don't want every blog to be me sitting on my ass not achieving my dreams. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of had this idea. We'll call it How Many Days? I'll pick the 12 people that inspired my career the most, and the way that it will work is I'll post a video every day, but I can't aggressively pursue their management or agents. The idea is that whoever is watching, if you happen to be watching, if you know anybody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you like this, please pass it on, and we'll just see organically how long it takes, like 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, foolishly, I said I'll do this every day. So for 2,000 days, so roughly 5 years, Christmas, birthdays, if I had the flu, if I was directing a music video, I still had to make a video blog every single day. And this is before everybody had a weekly blog. This is before you could monetize things on YouTube. This is before there was VidCon and all these ways to make revenue from it. I started this project, but one of the rules was if I missed a day, I had to quit. I wasn't being genuine.
Nice.
So after day 2000, 2001, I missed a day, but it was only because I had become so busy doing music videos and other things for my career that I missed it. And I thought, well, I'm going to be true to it and wrap it up and be done with it. And then suddenly it was like, what else could I do with all of this free time that I had?
How many on your list of 12 did you actually get to meet?
I think the final number was 6. I did about half of them.
Half of them?
Band Jimmy Eat World was on there. Like everybody was on there for a very specific reason of what had inspired me. It wasn't just like, oh, you're my favorite actor. It was very personal to like the types of films, the types of music videos that, I had seen a documentary about Jimmy Eat World where their most famous record, they had just been dropped by a record label, and their most famous record, they self-financed. Even though they'd just been dropped by a label, they said, screw it, we're going to raise money and do the next one on our own. And that became their huge thing that launched them to the world. So everything was sort of taken from the idea of like the people that I was inspired by their careers and the types of films and things I wanted to make, and just thought it would be fun if they said yes, And I don't know if some of them saw it and just said, screw that guy. That guy's an idiot. I'm not going to. But the ones that did, like Kevin Smith and Tarantino, and it all kind of happened in weird ways. And what was interesting is the people that I met along the way that were just random YouTubers that watched, that had become dear friends or people that I've collaborated with, or even now the Kevin most of them are sort of set to private. Not the whole thing is out there anymore, but some of the interviews, like the Kevin Smith one, I still get emails once a month or so from somebody that saw it and then went and checked out my work, and usually a college kid asking for advice on filmmaking, or so it's kind of fun, and it really, I mean, I love the interactiveness of YouTube projects when people do them kind of right. We're actually working on a follow up to. It might not be with Blumhouse, but we're gonna do a follow up thing to the Periscope movie and just try to make a much more interactive project.
Nice.
So what is next for you? Other than that, are there any other films or anything else everybody should go look for, or where can people find you to find your work?
You guys have any money? You want to do a personal Kickstarter? And we'll go now, yeah, I'm pitching a few new features right now. I'm going to do a really super low budget indie drama in the new year. I'm going to shoot it back home and I'm going to self-finance it. It's basically a super drama about a couple the night before their wedding and coming to the realization that maybe they don't even know each other, and should they or should they not go through with the wedding when they sort of learn some absolutely horrible crap about each other's past. So it all takes place largely around one hotel room and one sort of banquet hall. And I actually made it as almost like a student film back in the day.
Operation, I know this one. Go ahead.
What's that?
Operation White Cake, right? Did it have any inspiration from that?
That's different. That's
right. But did it inspire it?
Operation White Cake is my best friend Sean Lippert. He actually he owns and runs the Scarehouse Windsor, which is the haunted house that we filmed the movie inside of. So that's like an operating, sort of kids and family attraction every Halloween season.
Not after they see
and
the movie.
2011, he threw a surprise wedding for his wife. So, meaning she showed up thinking she was going to a dinner event with a friend. He was there, proposed to her, and they said, "Oh, that's not all. We're getting married right now. I picked your dress. I picked your bridesmaids. I picked everything." No man on earth has that level of balls to, to plan his wife's wedding. But it went off swimmingly. He was my best friend. I reluctantly agreed to film it because I hate wedding videos more than anything in the world. And it ended up being pretty damn charming. So I left early that night. I stayed up till 3 or 4 in the morning and made a little 7-minute highlight thing of how it all happened. And I posted it on YouTube and I put it on his Facebook page and said congratulations, effer, have a great life, and went to bed. Yeah. And so I woke up at 11 the next day because I'd been up so late, and my phone was missed call CNN, missed call NBC, missed call. I'm like, what is happening? I started listening to voicemails hi, we saw your video. So I grabbed my laptop and I opened it, 78,000 views in 6 or 7 hours. And then I called Sean and his wife Colleen. I'm like, hey guys, I got they're on our front lawn. Fox News has a truck on our front lawn right now, and it had just gone super viral and ended up blowing up everywhere because apparently no man in the world had ever thrown the entire. They'd done surprise proposals and things, but nobody had done that before. So just by fluke, this video that I made just for my friends ended up becoming a huge viral sensation. It was on Good Morning America, and
awesome.
Late night hosts were making jokes about it. We got flown to New York so that they could do talk shows, and they were on the Ricky Lake show in LA and a bunch of weird stuff that came out of. So again, just that power of viral video. If you hit something that people are looking for. But no, the movie I'm making would be basically the emotional opposite of that.
Wait, before you say, I just want to say over 2.5 million viewers at this point.
That's crazy.
Over 2.5 million for that. That is
my
good.
friend's wedding video.
Yeah,
you don't know how many calls I got to do people's wedding videos after that.
I'm not doing
it. Done. I'm trying to be a legit filmmaker. Stop calling.
So I'm sorry to interrupt. Now go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. Go into what you're really doing now.
Yeah. So we're gonna make that movie. There's a couple other things on the horizon, but nothing sort of locked in stone as goes the slow process of filmmaking. And then kind of always music videos. I've got Third Eye Blind, who I still work with. They're recording a new record right now, so I'm sure there'll be something in the new year. We did a couple videos together last year. There's an artist called Simmel I just directed his latest music video that's about to hit 8 million views, I think. He's a brand new artist, but really taking off. And I've already shot his second one, which is horror themed. It deals with sort of 1600s witches in a way that I haven't seen before. And we're about to shoot his third video in December. So yeah, there's always music videos around. And then, just the more I live in LA and meet people, there's lots of short films. I get bored, Nancy, if I'm not doing something. So
Sure.
I'll produce for people. I'll edit other people's short films. My wife's an actor and a stunt person, so we just kind of every once in a while, like, screw it, let's go make something. We're bored.
We didn't mention her great acting in that film. Actually, she was in your film Scarehouse.
Yes.
Very well done.
She had to audition like everybody else. It wasn't pure nepotism. So she actually auditioned to play the character of Lisa, who's the one who sort of like hands their ass to the two leads and almost manages to save the day. She wanted to play that role, but between Universal and D Films, they came back and just said, no, we think she'd be better suited for the lead character. I said, well, she's not gonna say no to that. Yes, no, Sarah, that was her. Sarah and I made a film together, maybe about 6 months before that. We made a short film called To Hell With Love that we just were like, yeah, we got $300 and a free night. Let's get some friends together and make this little horror film. Because we had never, prior to being married, we had never worked together on a film. Mm-hmm. So we were like, let's do a short and see if we love working together or hate working together, because we don't want it to cost our marriage, like on a film set. Right. Crash and burn. So after that, it was great. And she ended up doing so much work on Scarehouse. She was essentially the casting director, because being in Canada at the time, sort of part of there's like a youth council for actors there. She sort of knew right away, like, oh, these would be the people that we should call in to audition. That would be great. She would scrub toilets between takes on sets and between scenes, because we were shorthanded on PAs some days. So really, helped in every aspect of it, that eventually earned a producer credit alongside, the two main producers.
Awesome.
And she loves being behind the scenes. So yeah.
Awesome.
And since we moved to LA, she did American Horror Story. She was on Law and Order, SVU, and just like everyone else, waiting for the next gig and auditioning away.
Nice.
Well, we'll link to her IMDb page in the show notes as well for everybody. Gavin, this has been awesome. Really loved chatting with you. Is there any final parting words in terms of advice to beginning filmmakers that want to get into the biz? Anything you recommend other than crashing parties? What else you got?
I think the number one thing is to just keep creating content. Do whatever camera you have, whatever script you've written. Don't fall into the excuse of, I gotta wait till I can afford a red cam. I gotta wait until I have this. I gotta wait until I have that. Make whatever you can now. Learn from those mistakes. Just evolve. Just keep making things. And because every short film you make and go to a festival, you're gonna meet 2 or 3 other people. Just make stuff. But if you sit and wait, life passes you by. You will never reach your goals, and you don't even know how many opportunities you're missing by not just putting yourself into that creative realm and into that network of people. And if you just create content, you instantly become a leader that people will look to and want to collaborate with, which means when you're ready to make your first feature or if your goal is television, whatever it is, everything is a little easier if you just, plus all of the experience. There's nothing tops experience. So my goal is to constantly create things and just throw it away. And if it works, great. If it didn't, don't beat yourself up about it. Go make something else right away.
Awesome, man. That's perfect advice. I couldn't agree more. Gavin, thanks for coming out, and I'm glad you showed up at that indie horror meetup and came on the show.
I'm glad you were on that patio as I was finishing the last bite of my sandwich. I said, hey, that guy's talking about films. I'll talk to him.
Nice. Why not, right?
Nice.
All right.
See, I crashed my way into this podcast too. You gotta talk to people.
He's good at this.
Yeah.
You kidding me? He slipped me a 20 at the.
Nice.
Hey, it was a pleasure. We do wish you future success. So thanks for being on with us.
So much.